I'm going to be drawing an oak tree. Now you'll need some pictures for reference. These are just off the internet. You can take them on your phone, use those. Even things like looking close up at the bark, how a tree moves. Oak trees spread out, rather than the height, they go outwards. They're vast, they're very strong, they're wonderful to look at, very interesting shapes. If you look at them, the branches don't just go up, they go down too. So take some time to look how these branches work before you start your study. Just take time out to process what you see in front of you. We don't take enough time, we're always rushing. Don't take time to see what's around us, the beauty that's in the world. And observing trees and taking some time out comes highly recommended. You need some pencils, razor, sharpener, if you can, a blending stick. So what pencils have I got here? 2H, don't worry about this too much, but a little bit of info on these. The B's, and you probably see these all the time, think, why is there so many pencils? What's all these numbers for? And I'll go over this a few times throughout the weeks. So your B's, they're soft, they give you a lot of lead. They also smudge really, really easily. The higher the number, the darker the tonage you get from them. So when you're starting off and you're just sketching away, you don't want to be starting with a 6B. Okay? Now the H's, it's the opposite. So with the B's, the higher the number, the darker the tone, darker the lead. With the H, it's the other way around, just to confuse matters even more. So the higher the number, the lighter it is. These, the H, they're hard, they're finer. You don't get a lot of lead off them, so they don't smudge. But they're great if you just want to make some light marks, or even a HB as well. Graphite pencils are really good as well, because they rub out quite easily. So enough with me chattering on. So you're going to start by making your trunk. Okay, I'm going to do this really lightly. Okay, you don't want your trunk going right up to the top of the page. Don't start at the bottom, because you want to be able to ground this. Okay, just make some. Remember, these trunks aren't dead straight. So I'm just making light marks to start off with. And think about your tree and the shape. So maybe just put in some reference branches. And then rather than just carrying on with a branch, make some gaps for the smaller branches. We'll extend on that in a minute. So again, think about the shape of your tree. Can be as unusual as you want it to be. The more unusual the shapes are, and when I've got my shapes in place, what we're going to do with these videos, these tutorials, I'll be pausing. So then you've got time, you're not just watching me draw. You know, we've got things to do. We don't want to be sat all day watching me draw. So what I will do, once we've got the branches in place, you'll see how I'm doing it. Again, look, if you're left-handed, work backwards rather than working the way you write. It's easier to see what you're doing. If I start over there, which I can't see, So if you come this way, it just makes things easier. I'm not sure how many left-handed people are around these days. When I was small, it was forever the teacher would take the pencil out of my hand, put it in my right. My right hand is useless. Doesn't do anything. And my branches are going off the page. So like I said before, oak trees expand outwards, the width. Got a thick width. And I'm noticing that I've not really got any branches coming down, so I'm just going to add a few. It just feels a bit unnatural, doesn't it, I suppose? This oak tree is going to be an oak tree in spring. So do you see what I'm doing there? You start off with, it's a bit like when you're going on a motorway, you know, you've got a really, really wide road, and then you come off the B roads, and A roads, it was smaller and smaller. It's like this map appearing. And again, light marks, just light marks. We'll put the bark in later, we'll put the leaves in later. If you can, like I said, look at the bark of the tree and you'll see all the grooves. I'm going to show you how to shade it and get them grooves as well. So I'm going to work some more on my branches while you work on your branches. Okay, have a few goes if you like. There's no right or wrong way with learning how to draw or improving your skills. I don't think so anyway. I think it should be all about fun and having a go. Okay. So I'll stop it there and then we'll pick up again. So as you can see, what I've done now, I've darkened the lines, I've extended on the oak tree, I've created more branches. And yours might look like this and it might not. It doesn't matter. So, where do we go from here? I'm going to show you how to extend on your branches. So if you follow the instructions by doing the trunk and then going off to your thicker branches, and then they go smaller and smaller as it grows outwards and expands. You've got some branches going down. So the tricky part is, I need my glasses. When you're following these lines going down, do your branches there. When you get to the fine, that's when you just put your lines. So when you're extending on these branches, do it up here, okay, nice and slim, and just create some feather-like, see, again on this. So there you got a thin branch, see, just go outwards, maybe another thin one, parallel to it, and just your lines. And remember, there's going to be leaves on these, so you're not going to see a lot. Don't be too precise. So now I'm just going to finish this off. You can see I've got more on this side than over here, I've got some unfinished. Don't forget when you're putting your branches in, for the ones that won't be at the front. So if you walk around that tree, you would see that branch. Okay? So this one is going to be darker, because it's behind, it's not going to be getting the light as much. I'm just going to finish with these. Well, this part, not finish. Okay? Just lines. These are my whispery branches now. So all I've done is get a darker pencil and go over the lines, because I'm quite happy with the shape of that. Now I'm just going to put this to one side because I want to show you something. If you haven't got a range of, if you haven't got a range of pencils and you've just got a HB, show you some tricks with your HB. Find it first. HB, okay. Most people, I'll see when they're shading, and you'll see people going shading like this, okay, and you get the scratchiness. See there, you can see the paper through it. If you get your pencil on its side, okay, and you do a tornado type movement, so that circular movement there, see how much softer and smoother it is. Another tip, if you've got HB, don't think you can't get tonage with it. So pressure, nice feathery light pressure, okay, and then apply some more pressure. If you then put your fingers further up, you can apply more pressure again, okay, and then just carry on with that. If you then have a blending stick, it'll still blend. Okay, so don't worry if you've not got the pencils that I've got. Where's it gone again? I picked out a different colour so I'd recognise it, and I still forgot. So if you are drawing the outline of the tree, for example, nice and light, if then you like that shape, just apply some pressure. Okay. I have lots of little lessons like that, lots of little tricks along the way. So we're now going to work on, we've got the tree shape, we like the branches that we've got, and we're now going to work on the back. We're going to work on some shading. Now I'm going to get a 3B and a 6B for this. And I'm not going to think too hard about it. I'm just literally, light source. My light source is going to come in from the right. Okay, so that means that if it's wherever the light's coming in, it'll hit light areas on this side. Okay, maybe when you get in the midst of the tree, it's only going to hit certain parts of it. A bit of homework for you: watch where the light comes in, watch where the light hits. If you're going on a walk in the forest, it's beautiful inside the forest. The light just beams through in certain places. Have a look at that. So I'm actually going to think about how bark will look on a tree. And you create depth by the tones, by it being dark and light. That's what creates depth. So I'm going to have some lines going upwards, and then if you saw the old knots that you get, okay, maybe some knots on there. I'm going to do one side. Oh, I'll do it for now. Remember, you wouldn't keep going up, going that way, because your bark would change directions. Okay, so when it's going that way, obviously it'll go in the flow of the tree. So don't carry on going upwards. Think about the flow and how your trees move it. And as you can see, I'm not being precise here at all. So where I put them dark lines in, it's going to go darker again to the right of this. Okay, so this is more of an impressionistic style. One of my favourite artists period, I love Monet, love Van Gogh, Desario, all those type of artists. put some lines through that. Even some scrumbling. The lines there. And you see that bark coming away. Make sure to peel it off, but don't. And then just to soften that slightly now, if you've not got a blending stick or a blending stump, you can use makeup applicator, cotton bud, but you can get these really, really cheaply. Now, even though I'm shading this in, I can use an eraser and some putty and take some of these tones off. So don't think you're just stuck with this. You can literally think about where that light source is hitting and remove some of that. So just play around, have some fun. We put some long. So where I'm going dark there, that will appear to go inwards. So you can see the scrumbling, the straight lines, the vertical lines. And that's all I'm going to fill this area with. Got quite a lot to fill in there. It'll take quite a while. So remember, if you've got HB, just think about the pressure that you're applying. Think about holding it on its side when you're shading, not straight up. And you'll start to see this now. Starting to slowly come alive a little. If you want it darker again, I could do the 9B, but I've not got one. Remember, apply the pressure. But I wouldn't do that till you sort of more or less at the end where you want to be. So I'm going to leave you now to work on the rest of this, and when we come back I want all your bark in place and I want to show you how to do some very, very simple leaves. Hope you're enjoying it so far. So now you should have got this far with your piece, with your wonderful oak tree. And you can see there's a lot of shading that's been taking place, and you should be at the same stage too. Now rather than, so a few tips again. You can see here where I've just gone sort of over lines in places. You can tidy that up by holding your pencil upright. I've got a H there, it's quite dark, but there's no, it's a hard lead, there's no softness there, so it won't spread and it won't smudge the same as with a B. So you can tidy it up by doing that, okay? The other thing is, that I want to show you is, you don't have to keep working upwards. Turn your page around. Make it easier for yourself. Once you've got this far on with your branches, you don't have to keep creating that bark All you need to then do is, remember, not upright, want to shade. You're just going to put some bark in later. All I want you to do is keep that pencil, and remember, just move your page around for ease. When it gets to the very tiny parts at the end, these very, very delicate branches, I'm going to swap 2H there, just 1, 2. And now, see how I change from that position to upright. If I'm shading like that, I'm not going to get these fine branches, am I? I just want lines. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to finish the rest of our tray just by shading, not worrying about the bark, the lines up and down. Took a few hours to finish off all this shading. When you draw your own work and you start enjoying it, you start learning different techniques, it makes beautiful gifts. So something like this, you might spend a day doing it, but you put this in a nice frame, it would be a box frame, black and white outside, you sign it, put a little note on the back. Priceless gifts, I love homemade gifts. That's what I will do now. And again, like I said, because you're not going across, you're not going to smudge this. Started there, you can just work outwards. And that's the next stage. So we're going to do that all the way around. You can see I've done some over this side here. Now I've shaded that already. Just be careful when your branches entwine over each other. So the branches behind, for instance this one, remember, behind the tree it will be a lot darker. Turn it around again. So can you see the different tones and where it's light and where it's dark? Can you see how it gives that 3D effect? That depth. So remember the next stage. Working on now, tighten up these outside parts, refining it slightly. Looking at the shapes of your tree, the contours of your tree, shading gradually outwards. So we'll carry on with that, and then we'll get to the leaves, and we'll also ground the tree as well. We're now on the last part, the last stage of how to draw an oak tree tutorial. And as you can see, all the shadings in there, the bark from the trunk of it, less sort of back outlines as it works outwards, because now we're going to put our leaves in. Don't worry, we're not going to draw leaf by leaf, and it is spring, so it's not going to be a full tree. So first of all, I'm going to ground this tree. I'm going to put it on land. Now, if you struggle drawing a straight line, another little trick, turn your page on its side, okay. Now we're not going to go for a dead straight line because, you know, landscapes aren't normally that straight, so we're just going to, see how I follow that through there without putting a line there, just hover it above and carry on. Now I've done that really faintly, just so I can see if, I'm going to bring it a little bit more on that side. So there we've got our first line in there, and all I'm going to do now is let's put some bit of shading in. Now, because our light source is coming in from this angle, it will cast a shadow. So I'm holding the pencil on the side, and that scrumbling type. So I'll get a dark one in a minute. 6B. Bring it more around here as well. So where I've cast that shadow, and obviously because the tree is quite a wide tree, it will go out a lot more. I'm now going to darken that again. And then, again, like I said, don't be frightened of just moving your paper to the side. On this side, it looks a bit scratchy at the moment, but we'll soon sort this out. Just for quickness, and just put some lines in there. And don't be scared to use your fingers, even though we do have all of our fingers and it can leave a residue at times, but when I'm painting, I actually paint with my fingers, palette knives and fingers. I've not got the patience for brushes. And because I like emotional abstract painting, it works hand in hand really. Handy stick. So as you can see there, that's grounding. And we'd work on even more, you know, you need to put some create a quick pale sky there. And you can add detail to this if you want to put rocks in there, if you want to put tufts of grass in there, by all means. Again, move it to the side. Well, I'm quite a flat piece of land. I've been drawing this now for around 6 hours. Like a day drawing to draw a tree. So now we're going to work on, just going to raise that there, it looks like a bit flat. On the leaves. So what all we do for that, we're going to, because it's spring, we're not going to have a full tree like I said, going for a 3B, and we're going to make an impression of a leaf. We're going to use these tiny branches there, because that's where the leaves would be forming, and just scrumble Okay, just scrumble, not all the way through, like I said, just on the ends of these branches, scrumble. And that will give an impression of leaves. I would take a look, if you can, at the Impressionist period. And where we've got no branches, you can actually, if you do it denser, do that scrumbling denser, the branches could be behind those leaves. No one would know. On this side, leaves. So as you can see now, from it being quite a, even though it's a sort of a dense tree, when it's not got the foliage, it can look a bit lifeless. My favourite time of the year is spring. So, really quickly, this isn't speed it up, this is just me putting the marks in to give that impression. You can refine it if you want to. Depends how long you want to spend on it. In something like this, you could go back to and back to and back to. I'll look at this later and I'll think, oh, I just need to tweak that, just need to tweak that. And it's amazing, just by putting the marks in. I'll show you in a minute. Now you can bring the tree to life just by suggestion. Turn this around in a minute just to see where the foliage lies and make sure my tree's balanced. Look. Now, like I said, I could carry on working and working, but this now should give you, this tutorial should give you a lot of tips, a lot of techniques for you to go away, practice your trees. So what I'm doing there is just using this blending stick just to smudge over these leaves. I could go on, like I said, and refine these leaves, but like I said, it's been a day of drawing this, so I need to sort of bring it to an end. Let's have a look. Now, I think what I'm going to do is, I'm going to stand up. I want to take a look from up here, because it's looking a bit, if you look there, it's looking a bit horizontal, and really an oak tree would sort of come down, so I'm just going to erase some of that area there. Maybe around a little bit. That's better. Just so it's a little bit more rounded. And there we have it. How to draw an oak tree. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you soon.